What's up, guys, and welcome back to Wake Up Entertainment. So, when Brigadier Gininda arrested the five accused, Gininda then went to Tumelo Madlala and Mthokozisi Twala. He then asked these two, Tumelo and Mthokozisi, to pinpoint anyone from these five as to whether they are the intruders that entered the Khumalo house. So the challenge with Gininda now is that he only went to Tumelo Madlala and Mthokozisi Twala, but left out the other five adults that were also inside the house.
Why did you have to limit your inquiry on whether or not they will be able to identify the alleged perpetrators to Madlala and Mthokozisi Twala and not extend it to all the adults who were in the house?
My Lord, firstly, you look into what people say in their statements. That's number one. But two, you are guided. As I've said, this was a prosecutorial-driven investigation as to who you can pursue for what purpose. It's not a willy-nilly type of an approach. So that was the guidance that the investigation was taking, and hence those two were approached, my Lord.
So initially, here Gininda is saying that he is being guided by the NPA not to interview others. So it appears as if Gininda is sort of throwing the NPA under the bus to say that they are the ones who actually restricted him from interviewing the other adults that were inside the house. Now, in so doing, Gininda can find himself in serious trouble, because if the NPA did not restrict him, then Gininda might find himself being on the wanted side for criminal charges. Now, Advocate Mnisi is very smart. He then pressed Gininda further and further and requested clarity from him. And this is what Gininda also went on to say.
So don't look at me and say, hey, Kantumne Sotene Manje. He's taking me from Pilato to Pontius. No, is this because I want to understand you? You are then therefore saying now, it is not that there was a decision that was taken that you should not approach Zandi by the prosecution team. There was no decision that was taken. Actually, it was just a silent thing. Nobody said approach her. Nobody said do not approach her. Is that what you're saying?
No, my Lord, maybe my Lord, so that is clear, and I hear what Mr.
Yes,
is saying.
Yes.
Insofar as Kelly Khumalo, the mother, Zandi Khumalo, and Longwe, Twala, there was no decision from the NPA to say we must approach them for the purpose of the identity parade. That's the simple and narrow of it. Insofar as the two, Mr. Twala and Mr. Madlala, there was a decision taking that you can utilize this one for the purpose of the identity parade. Hence, my Lord, when I went to them, they said 50-50 in terms of their recollection, and to that effect they gave statements, my Lord. That is that. I think I'm trying to be as specific as I can.
Yeah.
So now this is very clear now. When it comes to the identity parade, Brigadier Gininda was not restricted by the NPA to just Tumelo Madlala and Mthokozisi Twala. It was actually up to Gininda himself to pick whom to do an identity parade with and whom not to do an identity parade with. The question that we now ask ourselves is, why did Gininda just restrict himself to Tumelo Madlala and Mthokozisi Twala only? Why did he not also question the likes of Kelly Khumalo, Longwe Twala, Zandile Khumalo? Because these ones were the ones who were actually more involved with the tussle with these intruders instead of these Senzo Meyiwa friends. So if you look closely, you may find out that maybe Gininda was actually afraid that if he requests Khumalo from the five accused and say, from these five accused, who are the intruders here? Khumalo, the mother to Kelly Khumalo, might say none of these five accused were the intruders inside the house. Probably that is what Gininda was afraid of. If he goes to Kelly Khumalo, Kelly might say none of the five accused are the intruders, because Gininda says that Kelly Khumalo is the mastermind. So it's actually expected for Kelly Khumalo to actually try and protect the accused by saying none of the accused were intruders. But when it comes to Zandile Khumalo, we know that at one point she pointed at Bongani Ntanzi as an intruder, but also then went on to do a U-turn to say that she no longer remembers very, very clearly. So to Gininda to just pick Tumelo Madlala and Mthokozi Sithwala, it's sort of like selective investigation. You should have done an identity parade with everyone who was in the house, those adults, all 7 of them, and question them one by one and saying, from these 5 accused that I've arrested, which one can you identify and say, yes, this guy entered the house and was an intruder? That way, Gininda would have been doing like an effective investigation. But as things stand, with the way he has done this investigation and with the way that he has explained, this is like selective investigation. Because this is just literally an identity parade. You're just asking a simple question: who entered the house from these 5 guys? And if they say, I don't remember, you just move on. But you just cannot exclude someone. However, on the other hand, Gininda might have a point to not interview and do a identity parade with the likes of Khumalo and Khumalo, because those ones are not reliable. For example, Khumalo herself, she once did an identity parade just a few days after 26 October 2014, and she pointed to the wrong person, Mr. Mbata. Then this guy, Mr. Mbata, was then arrested and spent a couple of days behind bars, and then evidence then was then revealed that this guy is not the one. He was then set free, but he had gone through a lot. So to then call Khumalo to come and say, do another identity parade, and only for her to make another error, Khumalo is just not reliable. So Gininda on this one might have a point, because Miss Khumalo is just not reliable enough. Because usually the way things are in life is that if somebody makes like an error the first time, the chances of them making an error the second time are very, very high. So Miss Khumalo definitely has to be scrapped off the list. And the next up is Khumalo. Khumalo obviously might be biased because it said that she is involved with these 5 accused. So her opinion might be of no use here. Then we have Zandile Khumalo, the sister to Khumalo. Maybe she wants to protect her sister. But no, that does not count. Zandile Khumalo had to be added to the list of Tumelo Madlala and Mthokozi Sithwala. And lastly, there is Longwe Twala. Now, Longwe Twala is an interesting character. This guy is definitely, he knows these 5 accused. He was definitely supposed to be questioned. His opinion on the identity parade was definitely going to be very, very interesting, because this guy is not make sure, especially if you listen to some of his interviews on radio stations, you can find out that this guy, does he know exactly what he talks about? Because at times, like, he twists and turns and sort of like appears to be incriminating himself. So somebody like that, definitely Longwe Twala, should have been added to the list by Brigadier Gininda. So the list of Brigadier Gininda is 2 people, Tumelo Madlala and Mthokozi Sithwala, on the identity parade. But after our review, it should have 4 people added up. Zandile Khumalo and Longwe Twala should be added on the list. So tell me what you think in the comment section. Who else should be added up on the list, or even who should be removed from the list? I'll catch you guys on the next one.